In the early 1690s, the small town of Salem, Massachusetts became the site of one of the most infamous and tragic events in American history. The Salem Witch Trials, as they came to be known, saw over 200 people accused of practicing witchcraft, with 20 of them ultimately being executed. But how did this hysteria begin, and what led to such a devastating outcome? It all started in January of 1692, when a group of young girls in Salem began to exhibit strange and erratic behavior. They would scream, convulse, and claim to see visions of witches and demons tormenting them. The girls' parents and other members of the community were understandably concerned, and began to seek out explanations for their behavior. One of the first people to be accused of witchcraft was Tituba, a slave who worked in the household of Reverend Samuel Parris, the father of one of the afflicted girls. Tituba was known for her knowledge of folk magic and voodoo, and many in the community believed that she had used her powers to bewitch the girls. Under interrogation, Tituba eventually confessed to practicing witchcraft and implicated two other women in the community, Sarah Good and Sarah Osborne. With the accusations of witchcraft spreading, the town of Salem was thrown into a state of panic. People began to accuse their neighbors and family members of practicing witchcraft, and the number of accused quickly grew. The trials themselves were a farce, with the accused often being denied legal representation and forced to testify against themselves. Many of the accused were also subjected to horrific torture in an attempt to extract confessions. As the trials continued, the number of accused witches grew, with many of the accused being women who were viewed as outcasts or nonconformists in their community. One of the most tragic cases was that of Rebecca Nurse, an elderly woman who was highly respected in the community but was accused of witchcraft by her own neighbors. Despite her protestations of innocence, Nurse was ultimately convicted and hanged. The hysteria surrounding the Salem witch trials eventually began to die down, with the trials themselves coming to an end in May of 1693. In total, over 200 people were accused of witchcraft, with 20 being executed and several others dying in prison. The legacy of the Salem witch trials has endured to this day, with the events serving as a cautionary tale of the dangers of mass hysteria and the importance of due process and legal protections. But what could have led to such a tragic outcome? There are several factors that likely contributed to the Salem witch trials. One is the deeply religious and superstitious nature of the time, with many people believing in the existence of witches and demons and fearing their power. There was also a great deal of political and social tension in Salem at the time, with conflicts between different factions in the town, leading to a breakdown in social order. Another key factor was the lack of legal protections for the accused. The use of torture to extract confessions was also a common practice, further eroding the rights of the accused. Ultimately, the Salem witch trials serve as a stark reminder of the dangers of mass hysteria and the importance of legal protections.